I want to bring in CBSN political contributor and Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez, joining us from Houston. Leslie, at his first briefing, Scaramucci was asked how he planned to correct the course at the White House. He said the ship is going in the right direction. I want to play something else he said at the briefing. Listen.
I think there's been, at times, a disconnect between the way we see the president and how much we love the president and the way some of you perhaps see the president. And I certainly see the American people probably see the president the way I do, but we want to get that message out there.
Leslie, what do you take from that statement?
What's very clear is this is a message that will ingratiate him to the president. There is no doubt that many Trump supporters really sing from that song sheet, that the media is biased in their reporting. He's not getting a fair deal. He's trying to shake up Washington, and this is the after effect. People are upset with him. That was really interesting, and he took issue twice in a charming way, I would say, with the White House press corps, of saying that he took issue with that. That was a true defender, and I think if you're watching the president watch this, he would like that. There are many instances, in contrast, where he did not feel that the current press team was really defending him in the way that he felt, merited the amount of effort he was putting into the job.
Yeah, and of course he mentioned his loyalty to President Trump a couple of times as well, and you're right, he was charming. Spicer, I want to talk about some of the inner workings of how this all happened, and Scaramucci ended up being at that podium. Spicer was a close ally of Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. Scaramucci said he has a brotherly relationship with Priebus, where they sometimes rough each other up, but generally the appearance of this united front. What are you hearing about the real dynamics in the press office away from the cameras?
Sure. There's a lot of, magnanimous kind of comments that are coming out in the front. But behind the scenes, there's been a very long, ongoing tension, and it's been very severe. There were efforts to push him to other Senate-confirmed positions that were outside really that inner circle of the president, and try to avoid that because there's a tremendous amount of influence that he can exert there. And that was really the question. The chief of staff was trying to get control. If you talk to some folks around Reince Priebus, he's trying to get control of the White House so there weren't two chiefs of staff. There wasn't the New York crowd and the D.C. crowd trying to find a way to work together. It was really just strong leadership executing what the president wanted. That has never been able to happen. And this is basically pushing out Reince's team, kind of team Reince Priebus, and putting forward the New York crowd that is very close and very loyal to the president. The president wants it done this way, but can it be effective? And that's really, I think, a lot of base Republicans are frustrated, they're concerned, and they're not 100% confident this is going to get the job done. That's really where it comes down to.
Since you bring it up, Leslie, this is not a Senate-confirmed position. And it had been rumored that Scaramucci was up for different positions that would have required Senate confirmation. Is that an accident, a coincidence?
Well, as the story goes, he was up for many of these positions, and it's very difficult to get Senate confirmation. It's a long process. He had to dissolve and distance himself, which he spoke about today, from his business interest. You're asking a lot. He talked about the opportunity cost of taking a public service position, which I just have to say that one of the funniest lines of the whole press effort today is when he wished, Sean Spicer well to go off and make a lot of money. That's just like a true Wall Street person. Like, you don't
and I'm sure he
public
will.
Service. Right. I still go with Kennedy. Public service is one of the most honorable professions. You don't pick public service because you're thinking about a big paycheck.
Yeah.
I just say those two don't go together. But it's a fair point. It sees the world very differently. He has a lot of entangled interest that may have prolonged his Senate confirmation, maybe not. But that's certainly a lot of business individuals really take that into consideration before they decide to take a public service job.
Yeah, apparently there are a couple senators that are asking to look into Scaramucci's relationships with the Russian bank as well. So you also wonder whether that might have been a factor in avoiding a Senate confirmation hearing. Okay, looking ahead, based on Scaramucci's charming comments today, will he be more successful at communicating the president's agenda than Mr. Spicer?
There are many in the base that do believe so. One thing that's really interesting about today is he's extremely authentic. He does sound like a true believer. He's not in this kind Sean Spicer a lot of times looked like he was wearing shoes that were too tight. You know, it was just very uncomfortable position standing up there trying to defend the indefensible. And many of his colleagues, like myself, who've worked with him for 2 decades, know that, you know, he's always been extremely balanced, very careful in his wording, and he was very much not the true Sean Spicer that we've known. So this is somebody who looks very comfortable saying he loves the president, saying again, he loves the president, and one more time, he loves the president. So, you know, I'm very hopeful that love fest will continue. But I will say this: the base of the Trump support will like that. They will hear what he's saying, and they will appreciate the defense of the president.
And is that the most important qualification for this job? Love. To love for the president and loyalty for the president, because he doesn't have any other strategic communications experience.
Well, it shows you where the president is putting his priority. I mean, traditionally, the job of the White House press secretary, the comms director, you had to do your time in Washington through a series of communication roles. I worked on Capitol Hill. I worked at the Republican National Party. You know, you kind of earn your chits along the way, and you build alliances. You learn how Washington works. You learn how to get things done fundamentally, and how to work with the White House press corps. It's not a job you want to, it's not a type of thing you want to have on the job training as the first time kind of going into that pit. It takes even a national candidate about 4 months to learn the cadence and the style of the White House press corps. So even though you're a surrogate, which is one thing, for the Trump campaign or the Trump himself, is very different from running the operation of the White House. And so that challenge is very real. You can talk around it. You can say a lot of great things about the president, but can he execute on health care and taxes? We don't know.
And can he message that? Leslie Sanchez from Houston, thanks a lot.
So much. Thank you.